and somebody who I would think has probably sat next to Steve Fisher for, I'm just going to take a guess on this one, 220 of the 250 wins is Brian Dutcher, assistant head coach in waiting with San Diego State, who joins us now on San Diego Sports Leader XX1090 via the Corky's hotline. Am I in the neighborhood there, Coach, about 220, 225, somewhere in that range?
Well, probably darn near all of them, although that first year I missed a lot of games because I was recruiting, but we didn't win many that year, so I probably was near most of the wins.
I think about that because, it goes. You guys really are the peanut butter and jelly of that coaching staff. I mean, did you even realize, does it seem like it's been 250 wins all the time that you've been sitting there with Coach Fisher?
You know us coaches, we're so worried about the next one, I don't think we sit and smell the roses enough, and that's one thing Coach Fisher tries to get us to do, enjoy the moment and don't look forward to the next one, enjoy it while you can. And so we're trying to enjoy all those wins, but as coaches, we're always nervous about the next one.
It's a nice milestone. Does it mean anything to you? I mean, as long as you've been around, like you said, I know you want to focus on Colorado State, but does it mean anything to you? Is it just as a nice round number?
You know, I think it's always great to see the guy you've worked your whole career with get the recognition he deserves. And he's getting it. He got it last year when he was National Coach of the Year, and he's in the contention to win it again this year. And so any praise that comes Coach Fisher's way, we're grateful for.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher on San Diego Sports Leader XX1090. Aztecs last night, a 10-point win on the road. What was it like? Give us an idea as somebody who was traveling with I assume you were traveling. What was it like having to go through all the hula hoops that you guys had to jump through?
It was a story to save for the years to come. I mean, 21 people, only 21 people in the country got to spend the day in Cedar City, Utah, Grand Junction, Colorado, Laramie, Wyoming, Grand Canyon, Arizona, and San Diego in one day. And that was the 19 in the travel party and the 2 pilots. We had a heck of a day yesterday.
Have you had a trip like that? You've been around coaching for a long time, obviously. Have you ever had a trip like that?
No, never. I mean, we've obviously had weather delays and tough time getting places over our years, but to do this all in one day had to be a first for us.
And just so I make sure I have this right here for the audience that maybe didn't pay attention to this side of the story, you guys leave from San Diego. You're trying to get to Wyoming. And you have to refuel in Utah, but you can't land where you're scheduled to land, so you have to go someplace else, and then you get snowed in, and you have to be put up for the night somewhere, correct?
Absolutely. We were supposed to refuel in St. George, Utah, and as you're above the clouds, and you're not knowing anything, and as soon as we dropped down to make our approach, we were in a heck of a snowstorm, and the pilots thought, for safety first, obviously, which we all want, that they would go to Cedar City where they had a computer-guided approach. So we went to Cedar City to get fuel. We're snowed in and just thought, well, let's just stay here, let the conference know that we're going to not be there the night before the game and then come in day of game.
So you go in literally day of game. What does that do to your routine?
Well, you like to get up, have breakfast, and go to your shoot-around and kind of keep in the same routine, but that was not available to us. We obviously had to then fly. We couldn't even make it from Cedar City all the way to Laramie. We had to stop in Grand Junction, Colorado to refuel again. Got to Laramie about 11:30 or 12, and some of the guys wanted to go over and shoot late, but with a 6:30 game, Coach Fisher just said, we'll go early to the game, a couple hours early, and let you shoot, a little bit more by going early. And so obviously, he's as good as there is, and that's what he decided to do, and it worked out well for the team.
That is some sort of travel tale, too. And, you think about it because you've been on a million of these flights somewhere in the past before through all the different coaching stops. You would think, okay, travel, it comes with it. How do the kids handle something like that? Because it's not like, I can't imagine that they've been in a lot of situations like that before.
No, probably never.
Right.
In their lives have they been through something like that. And so Coach Fisher said he thought that this group, of all the groups he's had, handled it as well as anything he could have expected. They enjoyed it. Even though they might have wanted to get there or wished it went better, they enjoyed their time together. We got to one of the charter terminals, and they had a pool table, so the kids went out and played pool and hung out, enjoyed each other's company. We enjoyed our stay in Cedar City. We had dinner, watched a little tape, and we just made the best of a situation, and that's life. I mean, everything doesn't go smoothly, and we made the best of it. The team made the best of it, and obviously Coach Fisher paints the picture where he's going to get that kind of response from the team. He paints it where, hey, this happens. This is life. Things happen. we move forward. There are no excuses. We just got to make the best of it, and we did.
How would the Fab Five have handled that?
They might have called for a private jet. So.
Yeah, I would just get a sense of that as well. Certainly nothing, no disrespect to that team, but yeah, they might have called the private jet.
Yeah, they might have called for. They might not have got on the plane to start with. We might have only taken half the team if they were traveling.
So. Good point. Well, of all the things, I mean, we can go through the list of accomplishments. Here you are. You're 12. You're 13 in the rankings. You are 18-2 overall. You are 4-0 in conference. You're 5-1 on the road. Let me start with the road record because I think that to me tells you an awful lot about your team. It's one thing to play at home and have this great home court advantage like you do, to go on the road, and I think just not only in college sports but also in professional sports, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. The fact that you guys are 5-1 and you've only lost to Baylor, what are you learning about your team, the way they play away from their home court?
You know, there are always tests along the way, and the first one, really the major one, you know, we go to Santa Barbara, and most people think, well, Santa Barbara, well, that is not an easy environment to play in, and our kids came out and got a hard-fought win, I believe, in overtime. Then we end up going to New Mexico. It's sold out. It's raucous, and we respond well there. And now we're saying we have a bad travel day. We're going to Wyoming. They're 16-3. And so we learn something about the team every time we go on the road. It's not like we have all the answers, and there's a test all the way along the way, and our kids seem to pass every test that's been given to them.
Do you look at that as a coach, though? Do you look and say, all right, let's see. We know that they can play well when they've got 12,414 people behind them. Let's see how they go into some of these hostile environments. Yeah, I think you learn a lot about kids.
Absolutely. You learn that when you get behind 10-0 on the road to New Mexico that you don't panic, you come back. You learn when you get to Laramie at 7,000 feet elevation and you don't catch your second wind right away and you fight through it and you find a way to prevail. These kids have found an answer to everything that's been presented to them. And it doesn't mean it's going to get any easier. Every game is a challenge, and we'll have one at Colorado State on Saturday.
You guys also 4-0 in conference. You literally cannot have a better start than that. How does it feel as a program now, as a coach on that staff, to get out of the gates here and be undefeated in conference play, especially given some of the stuff we just talked about, who you've played and where you've played? Absolutely.
I mean, a fast start is absolutely critical if you can get one. And the nice thing is not just winning 2 home games, it's winning 2 road games to start the year. And the next one will be a test. We'll play 3 out of our first 5 on the road. So if we can go and steal another one on the road, we'll feel very good about the position we're in.
Did you feel like you stole one at New Mexico?
Oh, I think anytime you go on the road and play a team that's picked to win the conference and get away with a win, I think you feel fortunate. Now, that doesn't mean we didn't play well and we ran some tricks to steal it. You know, it's just that when you're playing on someone else's floor, obviously the advantage to them is greater.
You hold Wyoming last night to, 42 points in a game. And, you know, statistically here, you guys are allowing about 62 a game, which is better. I mean, which is better than most of the teams in the country are doing. As somebody who's been around a long time, I was saying this, I can remember seeing kids come out of high school, they come incoming freshmen, and they want to score. You know, it's the name of the game. You want to score, you want to fill it up, you want to dunk, you want to put on a show. How tough is it, or how much of a challenge is it, the differences between coaching offense and coaching defense at the college level?
You know, Darren, the thing is the high school kids don't realize the quickest way to get on the floor in college is to be able to play defense, where all of a sudden you may be scoring 12, but the guy you're guarding is getting 20, and we're losing in the proposition. And so the guys that make it to the floor quickest for Coach Fisher are the ones that can step up and play at the defensive end. You know, the offensive players, they get minutes, but they don't get as many minutes as the guys that are really good on the defensive end.
Do you recruit that way? I mean, when you recruit, do you have to say, hey, come here, we play this exciting style, or do you recruit that you play defensive basketball?
Well, I think you're recruiting a rounded player. You're hoping he can do both. I mean, obviously, we're not going to take a guy just because he plays defense. He's got to have some offensive skills to go along with it, or they won't guard him at the other end. They'll play you 5 against 4 and not guard one guy. So we like a rounded player, but obviously defense is a big part of being on the floor for the Aztecs.
Is that the biggest adjustment that a high school kid has to make going from that level to the next level, or is it just actually going up against people who are the same size?
I think that the defense is a big adjustment, because, especially for big kids, because in high school they got to play like they're walking on eggshells. Anytime they bump somebody, it's a foul. Then they get up to college, and it's very physical, and they're banging like crazy, and they're not used to that adjustment. You know, like a guard, for example, might try to cut a guy off on a drive, and he'll be afraid to body him, where, You get up to college, and you better body him as soon as he drives. As soon as you can get a body on him, you got to put it on him. So there is an adjustment, but we practice hard. We try to get them ready through practice to play in that kind of physical nature in a game.
I guess once they find out that they can actually win by playing some defense, then it probably becomes a little contagious.
Absolutely. I mean, the old saying in coaching is defense and rebounding win championships.
And you guys take a lot of charges too, don't you? How do you, like, literally speaking, how do you practice that? How do you prepare your team to take charges?
The interesting thing with charges, Darren, is not that people aren't willing to take them and put their body in harm's way. It's that the intelligent players are the ones that get them, because you have to read a guy coming in advance. You can't sit and slide over at the last minute. You're going to get a blocking call. So guys that are smart, like Tim Shelton, that can sense a play ahead of time, will slide over early and be there in position. So I think everybody on our team is willing to take a charge and has done so in games. But the guys that take the most of them are obviously the smartest players on the floor.
Is there something that you do? Is there any sort of drill you do? Either, I don't know if you do it during the season, given the wear and tear, or that you do maybe in the preseason. Is there something that literally you do to get these guys and teach them how to physically do that?
Yeah, well, we'll take a pad and run in at speed and make them step in front and fall, know how to fall on their bottoms and not put their wrists down where they, they're falling onto the wrist, hurting their wrists. We try to get them to fall onto their bottoms, and we don't take a lot in actual game competition and practice because, charges, it's a lot of contact, and a lot of times it's not the guy taking a charge. He might fall back into another guy's leg. So a lot of times in practice, we just slide over and say charge. We're in position to take it, but we don't take a lot of them in practice just because of the physical nature of it.
Right, absolutely. It'd be nuts to do that, and nobody wants to see anybody get hurt in practice. You mentioned Tim Shelton. We know Steve Fisher was approached about appearing in Tim Shelton's music video. Or you approached to be in Tim Shelton's video?
I'm a little bit offended. This is the first I'd heard that this coach was approached, and I wasn't. Although we're both kind of like, Coach is a little older than me, but I don't even think we understand what Tim's saying half the time. I mean, that's more for Mark Fisher and Tony Bland, the young assistants. I mean, Coach and I, we kind of listen, but I don't know if we understand everything Tim's saying half the time.
So you didn't know that they're actually he approached Coach Fisher about it. He didn't want him to be in dancing. He just wanted him to turn out the lights at the end of the video.
Well, I'm surprised Coach didn't do it. Here's an opportunity to get more famous, and he turned it down. I don't know. Tim is as creative as they come. I mean, the video last year and the video this year we're getting all sorts of comments on it. I know Tim's getting a lot of hits on YouTube where it's posted, and it's exciting for all of us to see Tim to be able to express his creativity not only on the basketball floor but in the music world. If
he had asked, would you have volunteered? Would you have said, "Okay, I'll be in it"?
No, I wouldn't.
Because that's what Coach Fisher said. He said, "Yeah, I don't want to do it," and then we go on an 8-game losing streak, and everybody's making fun of me. So he got a little superstitious on everybody.
Yeah. I don't think I'd have done it either.
He's a pretty talented guy, though. I will tell you. Is he the guy that keeps all the players loose?
He keeps them on point. As a veteran, Tim's been through the wars, as we would say, and he knows what to expect, and he keeps everybody on point and focused on the task at hand, and he's been a tremendous leader for us, and we wouldn't be where we are today without Tim's guidance.
All you can control, obviously, is what you can control, and up next is going to be Colorado State on the road. And I would ask, as somebody, though, who does sell your program, and as somebody who's going to slide over and become the head coach of this program somewhere down the road, do you feel like you're still fighting for national attention? I know your fan base worries about that an awful lot. They're always checking rankings. They want to make sure you're getting prime placement when it comes to the highlight shows. Do you feel like your program is getting the proper amount of attention on a national basis?
Well, we're kind of hoping they don't give it to us. It just is more motivation that we can go in and tell the kids before games, hey, they don't believe in you nationally. They think it's smoke and mirrors. They don't think there's substance here. And we have to continually go out and show them. So it's almost better for us not to be recognized and use that as a motivation to say people don't believe in you. They still don't believe in you, and we have to continue to go out and show them on a daily basis that we're as good as we believe we are.
So do you want us to stop talking about you guys?
Just keep saying we're not as good as people say.
Okay, I'll continue to say that. It's smoke and mirrors. You guys aren't worthy of the 12 or the 13 ranking. We'll just we'll beat that drum here on the radio station. How about that?
Absolutely. And by the way, we're going to play in our first whiteout of the year. They're going to have a whiteout at Colorado State, and it's not the weather, it's the fans. They're supposed to all be in white, so we'll see how we respond to that.
Does that work? I mean, does that do anything for you guys?
I think it's fun. I mean, you're a college kid, and you get to go and play in these raucous environments. How much, as an athlete wanting to be in those kind of situations, how much fun is that to be the team with a target on your back, not just another game that when you go in there, they're going to have their biggest crowd. They're going to want to beat you more than anybody. I mean, there's no greater challenge and enjoyment to win on the road in an environment like that.
I think that's what you learn. That's my favorite part about athletes who love playing on the road. I always go back to Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller, to me, what made him so great, what made Jordan great, is they embraced playing on the road. They never, ever shrunk in the moment at all. They embraced it, they loved it, and they wanted to be the villain on that stage. I love that.
Absolutely, and there's no greater joy than to send the hometown crowd home quiet.
Coach, thank you very much. Congrats on another win. Appreciate your time. Best of luck this weekend at Colorado State.
Thanks, Darren.